केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे, केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ।
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. If there's one thing the entire country agrees on tonight, it's this. Gen Z ne kar dikhaya. Gen Z has won the game. Education Minister Dharmendra Pradhan has resigned, bowing to a demand an entire generation of students simply refused to let go. India has a new education minister. It is Prahlad Joshi. He has been given additional charge of the education ministry. In his 2-page resignation letter, Pradhan said the decision was for the future of India's students to stop anti-national forces from hijacking the movement at Jantar, Mantar, to keep the country united and to make sure not a single student's future gets buried under legal battles. The moment he posted his resignation letter on social media, Jantar Mantar erupted with joy. Students embraced each other, sloganeered and celebrated a victory they fought weeks for. The Cockroach Janata Party called it proof of the power of India's youth and credit where it's due. When a cause is real, when the anger is genuine, and when students fight not for politics but for reforms, even the government has no option but to listen to the voices coming in.
क्या कहते थे, इस सरकार में इस्तीफे नहीं होते। हम कहना चाहते, झुकती है दुनिया, झुकाने वाला चाहिए।
There has been accountability. Now it's time for reforms in the field of education so that we have a robust system that makes us a great nation.
जो हमारी मांग थी वो पूरी हुई और अब शिकायत कुछ नहीं है सरकार से। कांग्रेचुलेशन।
तो अदर जो भी चीजें हो रही हैं एटलीस्ट अकाउंटेबिलिटी से दो, जिससे लोग डर रहे हैं चीजों को करप्ट करने के लिए।
हमारी अकाउंटेबिलिटी है, हमारी भी वैल्यू है, हमें सुना जा रहा है। एटलीस्ट वी आर हर्ड ना।
But here's the inside story behind the government's Climbdown. Sources say the Prime Minister's own 2 engagements with Gen Z on Instagram convinced him that reasoning with this generation at this stage, with passions running high as they were, was next to impossible. Intelligence inputs had also flagged a worrying trend that political and other antisocial forces had begun quietly hijacking and exploiting the protest. And that, sources say, is what tipped the scales. The Prime Minister felt bowing down to the youth was a far better option than leaving them exposed to those external forces waiting to create a situation of anarchy that would perhaps hurt the country and definitely the youth. There's also a lesson from history at play here. The farm law protests, where the government was forced into a rollback mode but lived to fight and govern another day. So rather than let this turn into a prolonged confrontation, the decision, sources say, was deliberate and strategic. Bow down to the students now rather than let the movement be hijacked by those who don't actually care about the Gen Z, the students themselves. And somewhere the reactions from the opposition camp validate the government's concerns.
It's also a signal to other parts of society, farmers, laborers, poor people, anybody who this regime is attacking and oppressing. There is wisdom and courage in standing up. Daro mat, let's get rid of this regime that is attacking India, destroying our constitution, capturing all our institutions.
इतना बड़ा संघर्ष हुआ और अल्टीमेटली सरकार के अहंकार को झुकना पड़ा, जनता के सामने झुकना पड़ा। ये बहुत बड़ी जीत है, पूरे जनतंत्र की जीत है, डेमोक्रेसी की जीत है।
जिस तरह छात्र नौजवान युवा अक्रॉस द पार्टी लाइन बाहर निकल करके आए और सड़कों पे जो इंकलाब के नारे, हल्ला बोल के नारे जो लगे, उसका परिणाम ये हुआ कि सरकार को इस्तीफा देना पड़ा।
तो इस आंदोलन ने इस बात का उनको खुला पैगाम दे दिया है कि अब तानाशाही नहीं चलेगी।
While the opposition continues to attack the government and writes posts like Narendra Next, the Cockroach Jantar Party that arrived at a breakthrough with the government today has called off its 36-day protest at Jantar Mantar with immediate effect. They have said in no uncertain terms that the government has accepted all their demands.
तमाम मांगे जो हमारी थी वो मान ली गई हैं, लेकिन प्रोटेस्टर से हम रिक्वेस्ट करते हैं कि इमीडिएट इफेक्ट से आप विड्रॉ करें, हमारी मांगे जो है वो मान लीजिए।
जो आपका चार्टर है उस पर हम गहन चिंतन भी करेंगे और आपके डेलीगेशन के साथ बातचीत करके जो कुछ भी हम डेलिब्रेट कर सकेंगे वो हम करने का प्रयास करेंगे। तो ये इनकी डिमांड्स थी। मेरे ख्याल से इन्होंने जो डिमांड्स रखी थी उन सबको सरकार ने सहानुभूतिपूर्वक माना भी है और एक्सेप्ट भी किया है।
But now let's talk about the man who went missing when it mattered the most and then showed up when he sensed a political opportunity. Mr. Rahul Gandhi, who's now demanding regime change after Dharmendra Pradhan's resignation, seems to be revealing his real agenda. Because think about it. Now that the demands of students have been met, now that Dharmendra Pradhan has resigned, now that compensation has been agreed on and FIRs are being withdrawn, now that protesters are leaving Jantar Mantar, Mr. Rahul Gandhi is changing his strategy. The stage he tried to climb onto has been pulled out from under his feet. He has no issue left to ride. And that is why he says, and that is why what he says is that the Congress party's Andolan will continue.
आरएसएस का जो कैप्चर है हिंदुस्तान के सिस्टम पर, एजुकेशन सिस्टम पर, अगर मोदी जी की गलती है तो उतनी ही गलती आरएसएस की है।
हमारा प्रोग्राम जो स्टूडेंट्स का प्रोग्राम है वो चलेगा क्योंकि हमारी इश्यूज लॉन्ग स्टैंडिंग इश्यूज हैं और हमारा तो नहीं रुकेगा। हम इश्यूज रेज कर रहे हैं और उसको हम करते जाएंगे। Right, so the government needs to start listening to what the people of India are saying. This is a warning to them. This is a warning from the students of India, it's a warning from the opposition. If you carry on down this path, you will see that what has happened right now will be at 10 times the scale.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, brings me to the legitimate question on the Newshour tonight. Prime Minister puts students first. Pradhan resigns. But has the opposition exposed its regime change agenda? That's the question and that's the debate on the other side.
You're watching the Newshour at 9. Debate number 1 on Times Now. Super Prime Time.
Joining the debate tonight with me, Siddharth Yadav, national spokesperson of the BJP, Mumtaz Patel, member of the Congress Party, Mohandas Pai, chairman, Arin Capital, Anmol Pawar, national spokesperson of the Aam Aadmi Party. Also joining me tonight, Shekhar Iyer, journalist, Harshvardhan Tripathi, also journalist, Vivek Silas, national spokesperson of the Samajwadi Party. But coming to you first, Siddharth Yadav. Siddharth Yadav, the government has tasted the medicine today that when the Gen Z, when youth actually come down, zid pakad lete hain, so you have to bow down. As a parent, I know that very well. When the children say that they want something, they just get it. And parents are used to bowing down to them. Why did you realize it so late? The Gen Z was there on the streets. The problem you could see, you chose to look the other way. और सवाल ये भी है कि सब कुछ लुटा के होश में आए तो क्या किया? For those who can understand Hindi, let me translate it for you. Why wake up from your sleep or come back to consciousness after you've lost everything? Why, Siddharth Yadav? The writing was on the wall. What took you so long?
Good evening, Navika ji. Good evening to all your viewers. I don't think we have lost everything. And I think nobody has lost anything for that matter. We are a very vibrant democracy. In a democracy, all of us have to endure that we put in our best, and we have to look out for the best for all factions of the society, especially the youth. First of all, since Dharmendra Pradhan ji has given his resignation now, I would want to take 10 seconds and acknowledge the kind of contribution that he has given to our education system, be it the implementation of NEP or establishment of PM Shri schools, the kind of shift that has been wrought and monumental shift that has been wrought in the education system counts for a lot of things. But as he has said in his own resignation letter, he always endured for the best that he could have done. But we always have to take into account that the youth of our country are a priority, and we would not let any anti-national forces or any political forces which are motivated by their own means to mislead our youth and divert them in directions that we don't want. All of us want everybody, every faction of our society to contribute and work together for the betterment of this country. Having said so, now owing to that situation and acknowledging the sensitivity of the current situation, I think this decision has been taken by him. We are happy that all protests have been called off. Anyway, from day one, the government was very sensitive about the discussions, about the progress that we need to make in ensuring that our educational system is robust, in ensuring that no paper leaks happen. That endeavor will continue to happen and will continue until the people have elected us, and for that same pursuit we are working. So I don't think there's any delay. I don't think someone has woken up, someone has won, or someone has lost.
Well, you can wake up people who are in deep sleep. You can't wake up people who are awake. And Mohandas Pai, I want to ask you, was the writing on the wall? What do you think? Has this step come now? The protest being called off, has it come too late? Should the government have recognized this earlier itself? And number two, does this end the problem of the education system, the skill set system that students are facing? Do you think politicians and bureaucrats should be making the education policy, or do you think we still need to begin from here, a commission to be set up, a commission of experts, a commission of people who are out there in the practical world, doing professions, working places, as well as those who are in academics, to build an education system that prepares a whole generation to take up ultimately what they want, jobs at the end of the day. Right now, what we are doing is fighting about whether there should be a 2-language formula or a 3-language formula, or how much politics should come somewhere in the middle. Do you think we've achieved something today, or do you think the battle has just begun?
Navika, I want to start by saying that the government of India and the state governments are not able to understand the anger and angst of young people who are entering the workforce today. Let me give you some data. In the first decade of the 21st century, 2000-2010, there are 2.5 crore people being born every year. That means they are attaining the age of 21, finishing the college by 22, 23, and entering the job market. Right now, based on 23-24 data, 1.1 crore young people are graduating every year. It could be 1.2 crore this year. We are not able to produce the kind of jobs that are required to meet the requirement. We are having what is called a youth bulge. And this youth bulge will continue for the next 10-15 years. And both government at the center and the states are not working to understand what this youth bulge is all about, where is it coming, what they need, how do you create jobs for them. For example, the largest number of graduates are coming from North India. And many of them have got an indifferent education. They don't have the skills. They're not getting the jobs. Many of them write this NEET exam, all kind of exams. They go to the coaching mandis because the education system has failed to train them. They pay through their nose, and they take multiple tests, use up the family's resources and money, and then they're extremely frustrated. So you saw them coming out in the streets, much more in the north than in the south of this country, where the numbers are much smaller and there are more jobs. And it's going to happen for the next 10-15 years. So the government needs to understand what is happening and work towards making sure the education system improves and they're able to get jobs. For example, they saw this time for the first time a large number of general category students coming and expressing their anger that they're being shut out of the market because too much of reservations, and where people with 4%, 5% marks are getting into PG in the medical area. It's outrageous. I think there's anger, and government should work. I don't think the government of India, the state government have understood. Right now, they've bought peace with young people. But I think this kind of angst will continue for the next few years unless all state governments, union government get together. The government of India had a internship program which has not worked well at all. The allocation is pathetic. They pay 5,000-6,000 rupees a month. It's ridiculous. They need to have a very large program. They need to reduce the cost of education because a large number of people who are not into reserve category are not able to pay the high fees. In many parts of India, the government system of state universities has failed. They go to the private sector where they have to pay heavy fees. They borrow money and, they're not able to pay back the loans. For example, in the IITs, we saw last year, if I'm right, 17,000 people passed. 7,000, I think, did not get jobs. They could be largely from people who are lesser qualified, who pushed into IIT for various reasons, and they're probably as frustrated as anybody else. This frustration is building up all of this country, and that is the message I see in this. Yes, the government has now spoken to them, but the government requires a serious introspection. This is not a challenge for the government of India, the ND or Prime Minister Modi. This is a challenge for all state governments. For example, in the state of, let's say, Madhya Pradesh, in the state of Bengal, in the state of UP, in the state of Bihar, very large numbers come in the job market. In UP, 15 lakh people are becoming graduates every single year. And let me give some more data. The gross enrollment rate in the south is about 42%. 42% go to college, 18 to 23. In the north, the average is possible about 20, 21, 22, because the all India average is about 30. So we have a challenge, and the government should understand the challenge, invest more, have a very large scholarship program for 10 lakh, 15 lakh children, giving them 1 lakh a year, make sure they can go to a college of their choice, and work to expand capacity in the central universities run by the central government, expand medical seats to brownfield expansion to 2 lakhs so more young people can get in, expand the intake in the IITs and central universities, and talk to the state governments in poorer states to give them more money to improve the quality of education. And I think most of the governments are giving, grants for DBT and others to win votes. 10 lakh crores a year is being spent on DBT and subsidies all across the country, where the education budget is not so high. The higher education budget all across the country may be 2.5, 3 lakh crores. And I think it's very important because society is all about people.
You hit the nail on the head, Mohandas Pai, which is why experts, people who have practical experience in the job market, people who are real academicians who know the rights and the wrongs, should be actually framing our education policy. But Mumtaz Patel, that's not what the Congress wants either. You only want the resignation of Dharmendra Pradhan, and then you want the resignation of Prime Minister Modi. You don't want what the students need. You want your political agenda. You want a regime change. How selfish is that? Because this is not about regime change. This is also, as Mohandas Pai points out, about states getting into how to make education better, more available to students across the board, and make them ready for the job market. But that's not what you're doing. Now that the stage has been pulled from under Mr. Rahul Gandhi's feet, you don't even have an agenda. You were gaib from the country for 3 weeks.
Hi, Navika ji. Hello, everyone. You just showed the clip where Rahul Gandhi ji said that it is not over yet. The buck does not stop with just Dharmendra Pradhan ji's resignation. And I think the students also know that. The students' demand were not unreasonable, were not illegitimate. They were not excessive. They were demanding accountability, and they're demanding accountability because there is major corruption in the education system. And this one resignation is not going to change everything overnight. The resignation is symbolic of the government taking some sort of accountability, which it has not in the last 12 years. Any group of people that have raised their voices for any problems that they've had, nobody is willing to listen to them. No one takes accountability for it. Nobody is sacked. So it is not just a simple case of resignation. Now the public understands which direction the country has been going. At this point of time, Rahul Gandhi clearly said this is a victory of the students. Why are we then on the show debating whether he's trying to take credit or discredit anyone? That is not the case. This is a victory for the students, and he's always stood by every issue that country has faced and raised his voice, asking for accountability from this government. This has been the government in power for 12 years. They've been voted again and again.
Fantastic. We all love Rahul Gandhi, Mumtaz Patel. I want to ask you, you're saying Rahul Gandhi is a fair person? Yes or no?
Of course, absolutely. Okay. Absolutely.
Then who is the education minister of Telangana?
That is exactly what we're saying. Everybody has to be accountable. Why are you today now on a day?
Who is the education minister of Telangana, ma'am? That is my question. Who
sacked the education minister of Punjab? If there is a problem with the education minister of Telangana, sack them. It doesn't matter.
Madam, the chief minister of Telangana, Revant Reddy, is the education minister of Telangana. There have been paper leaks in Telangana. Has Mr. Rahul Gandhi sacked him?
Exactly.
Has Mr. Rahul Gandhi sacked him?
Please demand to sack him. I'm sure he will sack him.
Oh, so far it didn't strike him? He doesn't know. So far it hasn't struck him. He's been standing with the students, expressing his angst and asking for, resignations by the dozen. He doesn't know. He doesn't know.
Coherence between.
If he stayed in this country long enough, man, he would know. If he concentrated on his own Congress-ruled state, maybe he would know. Siddharth Yadav. How come Mr. Rahul Gandhi doesn't know what happened in Telangana?
So innocent of him, Navikji. So innocent. Rahul Gandhi is so innocent. The Congress party is so innocent. All such innocent, cute people in Congress party, right? That must be the case. I don't want to be making fun of the very sweet argument that Mumtaz ji is making, but I can clearly see the hypocrisy of the Congress party. One party which does not care about students, their future, education system, educational reforms, nothing doing. All they care about is that we can't win the support of the people in this country. That's why let's take it to the streets. Let's find some students. Let's put a gun on their shoulders. Let's try to fire a bullet. Let's try to score political brownie points. Let's try to milk out our political gains. That's it. And it shows how hypocritical a party can be. When you have different standards for different states, when you think that students in Telangana are probably not students, students in Kerala are not students, but students in Delhi are students. Students in Punjab are also not students. But the students are only students. Their problems are only problems, only in places which suit you. If that is how it is, then I think so sweet and so innocent of Rahul Gandhi, Navikaji. I have nothing more to say. They are very innocent.
Let me get in Mr. Panwar as well. Panwar साहब, आपके पंजाब में भी यही कहानी है. It's great the students put so much pressure, and kudos to them. I'm dealing with a Gen Z, kid at home, so I really know how difficult it is to convince them not to follow what they really want. So I know it firsthand, and I knew this was a losing battle because bacche hain, we have handled them firsthand. We know once they have decided something, they are not going to give up. And if they are right, why should they? But then, Anmol Pawar, the question is not about if only the BJP is wrong. The problem is everybody today should have been asking that we need to fix the education policy for the betterment of the students of India. Are you in the opposition even doing that? Accountability Modi has had high standards. This is not the first time he has done a U-turn. Even farm laws. He tried to convince it was a reform. He wasn't able to convince. He stepped back. Because whether it is farmers, whether it is students and young people in India, giving, I don't see that as a loss. But do you have the grace to do that, Anmol Pawar?
Good evening, Navika ji. Navika ji said that accountability, Modi has held high standards, whether it is the student protest or the
I'm not
protest.
giving any adjectives of high or low.
No.
I said he has done U-turns, pehle bhi, he has done one today also. So, he has shown his accountability. It's there in front of the nation. The resignation is here. He has given in to all the demands. That's where I stop. Right or wrong, adjectives are not my prerogative.
Yes. He has shown his accountability after 25 students committed suicide. He has shown his accountability after more than 30 days when students were protesting and sitting on an indefinite hunger strike. He has shown his accountability after more than 100 papers got leaked in the last 12 years. And as you refer to the farm laws, he showed his accountability for more than 1.5 years the farmers stood near Gazipur flyover. He showed accountability when more than 750 farmers committed suicide because of those 3 draconian farm laws. He has shown his accountability when more than crores of people all across the country stood in support of these young students who were demanding accountability, whose demands were legitimate. So after 12 years, for once he has showed his accountability because he challenged the Gen Z of our country. Gen Z accepted the challenge and held the government accountable. इन्होंने चुनौती दी थी ना देश की जेनजी को, मैं देश की जेनजी को सलाम करता हूं। आज जो है देश की जेनजी ने इस अहंकार और तानाशाही सरकार को झुका दिया। उन्होंने बता दिया कि वो जो मोदी का नया भारत था जिसमें कहा जाता था कि मंत्री इस्तीफा नहीं दिया करते, वो नहीं चलेगा। ये जेनजी का नया भारत है जिसमें इस्तीफे भी होंगे, जिसमें जवाबदेही भी तय होगी और सरकार को जवाब देना पड़ेगा।
पंजाब की क्या सूरत हाल है ये भी तो बता दीजिए। पंजाब में भी तो पेपर लीक्स हुए हैं, उसका बता दीजिए ना।
नहीं हुए नाविका जी, नहीं हुए। Not a single paper got leaked in Punjab in last 5 years. Day before yesterday I was on your show. I showed you proof. Not a single paper and I can challenge you. मैं चुनौती दे रहा हूं आपको कि आप मुझे एक पेपर बता दीजिए जो लीक हुआ हो। मैं बड़ी जिम्मेदारी से कह रहा हूं।
हर्षवर्धन त्रिपाठी जी, पंजाब में कुछ हुआ ही नहीं। ये सब ऐसे ही लोग कह रहे हैं पंजाब में कुछ हुआ नहीं, लाठीचार्ज हो गए, ये हो गया वो हो गया, कुछ नहीं हुआ, पंजाब में सब चंगा है। क्यों हर्षवर्धन त्रिपाठी जी?
देखिए नविका जी, मैं तो आज पता नहीं, आज तो निवार नहीं तो किसी और चैनल पे यही कहने मुझे डिफेमेशन की धमकी भी दी थी। तो ये तो आम आदमी पार्टी ऐसे करती है तो इसलिए बच के रहेगा और डिफेमेशन की धमकी भी आ जाएगी। लेकिन जिन लोगों के सर पर लाठियां लगी और वो भगवंत मान का मुझे याद है कि एक दाना खरीद लूंगा, उसके बाद किसानों के ऊपर लाठीचार्ज हो गया। अभी जो अप्रेंटिस वाले लोग थे उनके ऊपर लाठीचार्ज हो गया। और फिर भी अगर ये ना माने तो फिर कुछ कर नहीं सकते हैं क्योंकि मुश्किल है ना। आप कहेंगे कि हुआ ही नहीं, अच्छा जो कुछ भी था वो दिख रहा था लेकिन हुआ ही नहीं है। तो अगर अनमोल पवार ऐसे सब कुछ खारिज कर देंगे तो फिर तो कुछ होगा नहीं। और मैंने ये भी कहा था, फिर से कह रहा हूं, हरसिमरत कौर बादल ने बाकायदा उसकी लिस्ट डाली हुई है और अगर उसके बाद भी आप उसको मानने को तैयार नहीं है तो फिर तो कुछ हुआ ही नहीं है। तो पंजाब या देश के किसी और हिस्से में कुछ हुआ ही, लेकिन सचमुच कुछ नहीं हुआ है क्योंकि उसके खिलाफ ये बच्चे नहीं थे। ये बच्चे निकल कर सिर्फ और सिर्फ धर्मेंद्र प्रधान का त्याग पत्र मांगने आए। और मैंने तो पहले दिन कहा था कि रिजाइन करना चाहिए धर्मेंद्र प्रधान को। इसलिए करना चाहिए कि कोई सरकार जवाबदेह दिखनी चाहिए। रिजाइन करना चाहिए था धर्मेंद्र प्रधान को दिन जिस दिन नीट के पेपर सक्सेसफुली हो गए। जब पेपर लीक हुआ था तब नहीं, जब नीट के पेपर सक्सेसफुली हो गए थे उसी दिन धर्मेंद्र प्रधान को त्याग पत्र देना चाहिए। एक बात जरूर मैं कहूंगा कि जिसको मैं बहुत इनमेच्योर लीडरशिप समझता था, जो कॉकरोच जनता पार्टी, उन लड़कों ने कमाल की मैच्योरिटी दिखाई। और मुझे तो अब लगता है कि वो आम आदमी पार्टी वो सोचती थी कि इनके पुराने लड़के हैं, इनके हिसाब से चलेंगे, वो तो मान गए। राहुल गांधी का क्या होगा, जो अचानक 20-22 दिन की छुट्टी के बाद अचानक गए थे, और वो हम लोग भी चूंकि छात्र राजनीति इधर पत्रकारिता में आए हैं, तो इलाहाबाद विश्वविद्यालय में ऐसी फोटो छप जाती तो मजा आ जाता था, जैसी राहुल गांधी की थी कि हाथ पांव चारों पुलिस के हाथ में और बढ़िया फोटो फ्रंट पेज पे छप जाए, वो भी हो गया। लेकिन इसके बावजूद उनकी अपील पर कोई नहीं गया वहां। आप जरा सोचिए, कांग्रेस के चीफ मिनिस्टर, कांग्रेस के पार्लियामेंटेरियन, सारी अपील हो गई लेकिन कोई नहीं गया। इसका मतलब ये हुआ कि इन दोनों चीजों को आपको अलग अलग करके देखना होगा। जो आप उसको जेनजी कहिए, अल्फा कहिए, मिलेनियल के जो भी कहिए, और भी जो आते हो, जो सब है, उनको जेन्युइन मुद्दे के साथ खड़ा होना आता है और पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज पे भरोसा नहीं है। इसको जरा आप समझिए, तब आपको समझ में आएगा यहां से आगे की बात। और निश्चित तौर पर यह भरोसा कब कायम होगा, जब सरकार सदन में विपक्ष के साथ बातचीत कर रही होगी और विपक्ष उससे भाग नहीं रहा हो, जब सरकार कानून बना रही होगी और देश का हर राजनीतिक दल उस कानून के साथ खड़ा होगा। और फिर मैं कह रहा हूं, ये बहुत बड़ी जीत है, हमारी शानदार जो डेमोक्रेटिक प्रोसेस है उसकी जीत है। लेकिन किसी को अगर ये लगता है कि इसको हम पॉलिटिकली बहुत यूज कर लेंगे, इस्तेमाल कर लेंगे, मुझे ऐसा होता हुआ नविका जी नहीं दिखता है। क्योंकि हर राज्य में पेपर लीक हो रहे हैं, वो कह देगा हमारे यहां नहीं हुआ है। सेंट्रल में पेपर लीक हुए, वो उस पर ये स्थिति बनी कि इतना बड़ा आंदोलन खड़ा हो गया। लेकिन जो बच्चे आए थे ना, उनसे जरा कोई पूछे, वो किसी भी स्टेट के बच्चे हो सकते थे जहां से पेपर लीक हुआ होगा, उनको आवाज मिली तो जंतर मंतर चले आए। ये देश की हर राजनीतिक दल को समझना ही पड़ेगा।
Well, it is very clear. I have spent the last 2 days with Gen Z in different cities of India. The anger is palpable. And frankly, if the opposition thinks it's only against the government right now, yes, it was. But it was against politicians at large, state government, central government. Everybody has let them down. Today, it is the central government at the receiving end. Tomorrow, it will be you. We need to get our act together as a nation. Or Vivek Silas, if the opposition only sees this as a political opportunity that, oh, we have got victory and now we have put the BJP down, you're actually misreading the sentiment in the nation. Vivek Silas, I want to ask you, is there a single government? Those are visuals. वहां रेवंत रेड्डी कैंडललाइट मार्च कर रहे हैं तेलंगाना में. Visuals on your screen. Hypocrisy of the Congress party. You know, Revant Reddy leading a candlelight march against the central government today when there have been paper leaks in his own state. That is the hypocrisy of the opposition. And I want to ask you, Vivek Silas, if you thought this was the reason on which you will depose Narendra Modi and somehow do a regime change, as Rahul Gandhi says, do you think it is possible? Are you thinking that this is a Nepal model that you want to try in this country?
No, Navika ji, I think that today was the day to rejoice for the youth, and definitely there shouldn't have been any politics today. But anyway, when it has come down to politics, let's discuss politics. But as far as the Samajwadi Party is concerned, we stay grounded with the youth and we enjoy them. First of all, this Mr. Pradhan, the shameless minister, should have been sacked in 2021 itself, you know, when the first paper leak was done, you know. And he was, that was the first year when he was appointed as the Education Minister of India. Again in 2024, there was a paper leak, and then again we saw it in 2026. So 5 years of his regime, the great Education Minister of Modi ji's cabinet had 3 major NEET paper leaks. That is his quality, you know. So anyway, I agree to Mr. Mohandas Pai, absolutely very well spoken, that we need to overhaul our education system. We need to pump in more money. But the unfortunate thing, Navika, today is that the Modi-led the NDA government is spending only 2% of the budget in education. Schools are being closed every day. That is the quality of the central government at the moment. Alone in Uttar Pradesh, 30,000 schools have been closed. So we need to ask questions, of course. Why not? Because ultimately we say that we have to compete with the world. We have to compete with China. We have to compete
with Europe, UK and US as well. So we need to get our things, tied up. But as far as Mr. Siddharth Yadav has said that the government was very sensitive regarding the youth. No, not at all, Mr. Yadav. You are absolutely wrong. If the government would have been sensitive about the students, when the students were committing suicide, Modi ji was distributing melody in Italy. You know that. And in Malaysia was saying 1 + 1 is 11. Not at all. This government was never sensitive about the youth of the country, And let me tell you one more thing, Navika ji. Pradhan ji did not resign. He was sacked by the youth of India. Seeing the protest and succumbing to the pressure of the youth, he was forced to resign by the Modi ji's government. So don't make this political. I never wanted to make this political today. It was a day of the victory of democracy. It was a day to rejoice with the
विवेक साइलेंस जी, फिर आपको भजन कीर्तन करना था.
Let's play politics.
नहीं, आप इसको पॉलिटिकल बनाने नहीं आए, तो भजन कीर्तन के लिए आए थे मेरे डिबेट पे.
मुझे यूथ को बधाई देनी थी. मुझे बधाई देनी थी नाविका जी. मुझे बधाई देनी थी यूथ को, और मुझे ये बात करनी थी कि हम अपने एजुकेशन सिस्टम को कैसे बेहतर कर सकते हैं. ये कहना था मुझे.
Siddharth Yadav wants to respond to you. Siddharth Yadav wants to respond to you. Siddharth.
नाविका जी, बधाई देने का ही तो बचा है इनके पास. Because when they were in power, they could not do anything else. तब तो बधाई भी नहीं दे पाते थे. When they were ruling the state, when they were part of the UPA 1 and 2, what were they doing? Today he's pointing out. Vivek ji, I was not speaking while you were speaking. Vivek ji, don't get restless. आप तो राजनीति करने नहीं आए. Why are you getting restless? When you were UPA 1 and UPA 2, your education budget was 8,449 crores. And today it is 1.39 lakh crores. You are speaking of education budget. You know the facts. 8,449 crore का education budget वाले लोग 1 लाख क्रॉस पहली बार किया तो आदरणीय प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी के नेतृत्व वाली सरकार में किया. And then you are telling us what was the education budget and you want to give badhai. When you were in power, you should give more. Today you can only give badhai. Either you can give green or you can give
Siddharth Yadav, you may say the budget has grown from the UPA time, but Siddharth Yadav, please understand, you give this money as freebies, as checks, because you want to get elected every time in elections. 10,000 रुपए इसको दे दो, 10,000 इसको दे दो. That is the way elections are being fought. I'm sorry. That money should also probably be made available to students, which is the future of the nation. And you have a ongoing fight on 2-language, 3-language policies, so much politics about मंदिर किसने बनाए, मुगल क्या था. All that is all very well. My friend, we need to go beyond that. You have to make students employable. And that is the anger. If you still don't get it, sir, there is a problem. You're not in your first and second year of government. You're in the 12th year. People now demanding serious change. Understand the writing on the wall, Siddharth.
There's no doubt. I totally understand and respect your point. I understand your feeling, and this is the same feeling the government has. What we are trying to fix is not even a 1-year, 2-year, or a 12-year problem. We are not fixing a 12-year problem. So when you remind me that we are in our 12th year of government, I understand that. But what we are fixing is a 30 or 50-year problem. I'm very sorry, but what we are fixing is a 75-year problem. What the NEP, when it was brought, you might call it, a 3-language problem, a 2-language problem. But we have remote areas where students come in, where they were forced not to study their mother tongue, which was given who were given this opportunity for the first time after 2020, after the national education policy, we reformed our country's education system after 30 years. So we are fixing a larger problem, and I know there's a lot of milestones we still got to go. We've got to put more on that. The government acknowledges it, Navika ji. I think we're on the same page on that. There's a long way to go.
You acknowledge it, but is the pace enough in keeping with the needs of the time? Mohandas Pai, Shekhar Iyer, coming to you. Mohandas Pai first.
Navika, I think everybody is pointing a finger to Narendra Modi and central government. It is the state's problem. Let me give you data again. There are 26 crore children in school. 50% go to private schools all across India. The government of India runs schools for only 1 or 2% of children. They don't run many schools. The state governments run schools. The state government schools are going empty because people are going away. Education quality is bad in very many states. 25-30% of state schools are good. The rest are not good. They're leaving. In most states, schools are shutting down because there are no students. I hope the gentlemen here debating understand the real problem. There are no students going to government schools in many places. I saw a report which said that 4,500 schools in Bengal have no students. They only have teachers. All right. As far as higher education is concerned, out of 4.5 crore young people in college, 65% go to private schools. And the union government only has 2 or 3%. The colleges they run is only 2 or 3% or 4%. Rest of it, the states. It's a failure of the states. And everybody's pointing a finger to Narendra Modi to solve the problem. Whereas all the state governments have failed in making sure education is very, very good in the states. They have to spend the money. Education is the concurrent list, not the central list. I think we have to understand perspective. You know, they all keep pointing fingers elsewhere. They must look at the mirror and find out where the problem is. It's a state problem. That's why all states and the union government have to come together. They must give greater opportunities. They must have better policies. And there's no point pointing a finger to Delhi for everything when it's not Delhi's problem. Delhi gives grants. Delhi gives money to the state. The states have to execute. Delhi doesn't run schools, many schools. Delhi doesn't run many colleges. So I don't know what this debate is all about. Pointing a finger to Narendra Modi for failure of the education system. And you know, Rahul Gandhi made a very bad statement, which all of us should protest, that India's education system has failed. It's ridiculous. 4.5 crore young people are in college. They work very hard. 1.1 crore graduate every year. They work very, very hard. They want to do well. Their lives are at stake. Parents are sacrificed to send them to college. And I don't like Rahul Gandhi saying the education system all across the country has collapsed and failed. That's a ridiculous statement. All of us must respect our young people, give them good education, and the responsibility of the state to do that, and the center has to play a part. Let's not keep pointing fingers to the wrong places.
Mumtaz Patel, do you want to respond? Mohandas Bhai says it absolutely clear and straight. Mumtaz Patel? Mumtaz, can you hear me? Well, let's check that connection.
Are you talking?
Okay, Mumtaz Mohandas Bhai has said it's not only Narendra Modi's problem, it's also the state's problems.
Are you asking me, Navika ji?
Yes.
I can't hear you. Hello?
Well,
Are
we'll
you
try and
asking
fix
me?
that. Yes, yes, Mumtaz.
Yeah, I mean, he's saying that why are fingers being pointed at Narendra Modi ji? Well, if somebody can take credit on a COVID vaccine, also he needs pictures everywhere. Then, of course, the questions are going to be asked of Narendra Modi only because he decides to take credit for each and everything. My question to you today is on this debate during prime time, why are we not discussing the larger issue, and why as media also, I think it's irresponsible to be debating and putting the onus on the opposition or making it about state and center. This was a very big victory for democracy today. This was all about the students' victory today. I think we should be talking about that and not politicizing it. And I feel that the onus is on mainstream media also, because the narratives that it creates is what causes
fantastic. I completely agree with you, Mumtaz Patel, but please replay the statement that was made by Mr. Rahul Gandhi. Did I make it political or did he make it political, Shekhar Iyer?
Victory of India. He said Narendra Modi is the past and these students are the future of India. As simple. What's wrong in that? What is wrong in that?
Shekhar Iyer.
You know, none of us can disagree with one another when it comes to what is wrong with our education system, what has to be done. Even as you do more, there is more lot to be done. Yes, but at the same time, we can't come to a conclusion that everything has failed. It has not failed. But the new challenges are coming. Our youths are also, getting to feel hopeless on many issues. And this agitation that you saw, which drew people from all over, also reflects a kind of hopelessness gripping our young people. And we need to address that. And people are having not problems just with this NEET exam. Because a lot of them out there were not NEET students. The NEET exam had got our results come. But we need to look at deeper things. Look at, what happens to a person, who is looking for college admission or who wants to do something. There are several schemes. There are a lot of ways you can take a loan, go for higher education. All that is there. But at the same time, there are a lot more who have already come out of the college system and they find themselves unemployable. They find themselves without any skill. As far as when you look at the diplomas and degrees and, a lot of people who come out of our engineering colleges, increasingly companies are finding they can't be hired. These are deeper problems. And I do agree with you, Navika, that we are still bothered about, how to degrade English and how to promote. See, every mother tongue has importance. But do you know that, countries like Japan, China, and Korea, which have always prided themselves in giving excellent technical education in their own mother tongue, are today, getting English teachers from India to teach in their schools and colleges? But there is so much of, and even recently the Apex Court, this matter came up, where the bench asked, why not treat English as one of the regional languages? And in the southern states, particularly in states like Tamil Nadu, the demand is, you took the education away from the state list and brought it to the concurrent list. So thereby both center and states are responsible. We need to free the education from, political agendas, not kind of the agenda that Rahul Gandhi has in mind. He is very absolutely clear today what he wants. But there are also other agendas where people feel, this is the way our children should get education. Because education is all about preparing the generation for the challenges ahead. We keep on holding.
Absolutely. You said it. And I want to quote Vivek Silas, Akhilesh Yadav in 2018. उन्होंने पता क्या कहा था? उन्होंने कहा था कि परीक्षा में थोड़ा बहुत पूछ लेना नकल नहीं कहलाती. उन्होंने ये बात किसी इंटरव्यू में कही कि थोड़ी बहुत नकल तो सभी लोग करते हैं. तो जो लोग नॉर्मलाइज कर रहे थे नकल को, वो आज रिफॉर्म्स की बात कर रहे हैं, अकाउंटेबिलिटी की बात कर रहे हैं. क्या बात है?
नहीं नाविका जी, बिल्कुल मैं आपकी बात का जवाब देना चाहूंगा. अखिलेश यादव वो शख्स हैं, जब वो मुख्यमंत्री थे तो उन्होंने उत्तर प्रदेश में 20 लाख लैपटॉप स्टूडेंट्स को ही बांट के दिखाए थे. अगर सिद्धार्थ यादव से पूछ लीजिए इन्होंने कितने लैपटॉप बांटे हैं, हाँ या ना बता दें. वो लैपटॉप आज भी चल रहे हैं, वो एजुकेशन के लिए बांटे गए थे. तो इस तरह की बातें करना ठीक नहीं है. As the beginning of your show you said that Pradhan has gone. Okay, Pradhan has gone. But if this government still doesn't work, does not come to the expectations of the youth, does not come to the expectation of the country has risen politically also and sensibly also. The Pradhan Mantri will also go very soon. They have to work for the people.
Well, we all know that whoever doesn't perform will need to go. That is not rocket science that you're telling us. Every government knows that if they don't perform, they will go. Harshvardhan Tripathi, इसमें ऐसा क्या ज्ञान हमें मिल रहा है? कोई परफॉर्म नहीं करेगा तो जाएगा. यह हमने देखा हर चुनाव में होता है. यही तो डेमोक्रेसी है. लेकिन जो नहीं परफॉर्म करते खुद अपने स्टेट में, वो आज सवाल उठा रहे हैं. ये अजीब नहीं है?
नविका जी, कल्याण सिंह की सरकार ने हमारे राज्य में एंटी चीटिंग लॉ यानी नकल विरोध अध्यादेश लाया था कि आप नकल करेंगे तो जेल जाएंगे. बच्चों के लिए वो कठोर हो सकता था, लेकिन एक सरकार आई, उन्होंने कहा कि ऐसा करो, अपने ही सेंटर पे तुम जाओ, जहां पढ़ते हो जिस कॉलेज में वहीं बोर्ड दो, अपनी बुक घर से लेकर आओ और खोल के टीचर के सामने उसको तुम कॉपी कर लो, चीटिंग कर लो. कौन सी सरकार थी वो? उस सरकार का नाम है समाजवादी पार्टी, मुख्यमंत्री का नाम है मुलायम सिंह यादव. और ये लोग बात करेंगे कि शिक्षा में सुधार कैसे हो. दुर्भाग्यपूर्ण है, लेकिन है, ये सच है. ये भी सच है कि एनटीए में एआईपीएमटी में चीटिंग होती थी, उसकी मुश्किलों की वजह से ये लाया गया और इसमें गड़बड़ियां हुई तो उसके आगे उसमें रिफॉर्म्स होगी. लेकिन ये गवर्नमेंट रिफॉर्म्स के लिए रेडी है. धर्मेंद्र प्रधान का रेजिग्नेशन थोड़ा पहले हो सकता था, हो जाना चाहिए था. लेकिन अगर कोई ये कहे कि इसकी वजह से जितने रिफॉर्म ये सरकार कर रही है वो सब छोड़ के राहुल गांधी को या अखिलेश यादव को सत्ता लेके चली जाए, तो डेमोक्रेसी में नविका जी ये तो नहीं होने वाला है. डेमोक्रेसी में तो जनता ही तय करे. और
बिल्कुल मुझे नहीं लगता कि किसी भी स्टूडेंट ने, आई डोंट थिंक द यूथ इज सेइंग द प्राइम मिनिस्टर should go. Nobody has said that. It is the politicians, the opposition parties who are saying that. And we asked a question. We did a survey and we asked the people the question. Pradhan quits, CJP calls off protest. Opposition says PM next. Is regime change the real agenda? Yes, say 82% of the people. No, say 13%. Can't say 5%. People know that opposition parties only want to remove the prime minister. But that probably not happening anytime soon. The prime minister has got the message. He is in communication. He may have taken a decision late, but he has taken it. Farm laws late, but he took the decision. The fact is, he lived to fight another day. The opposition lost. Should the opposition today begin to believe that they've won the battle? Please don't make that mistake. The youth, the Gen Z of India has won the battle, not the opposition. We leave it at that. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for joining me on the Newshour tonight. Thank you very much to my panelists as well. Good night, be safe, and we'll be back hopefully not just on Monday, but every day after that. Who knows what big news overtakes us over the weekend.